Oh, Taylor, don't be such a grumpy grump.
Yeah, Taylor. Work is supposed to be fun.
Oh, my work is just so good.
Yes!
Yes!
Greetings guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be talking about a web series known as Bedfellows, and Bedfellows is something I've mentioned before. It's actually one of the web series I've come across like a couple of years ago. I knew it back when it was actually a web comic. Unfortunately, a lot of those comics got taken down from the creators. I believe they wanted to move on to their YouTube series and I guess tone down the subject matter because YouTube has certain rules against explicit content. So this is not a family-friendly series, and even this series is only slightly less raunchy than the webcomic in question.
You want to join us, sweetheart? I'll let you in for free!
Yeah! Family discount!
They do some censorship here and there, but there's... I'd be surprised if I could get away with some of the stuff they do. But I guess if you put a cartoon animal in this situation, you could get away with a lot more than if it's just a person talking. Now, Bedfellows is a series that I quite like. It's very lowbrow, which doesn't tend to be my style of humor. Then again, back when I was a teenager, I loved this kind of stuff. I used to watch Teletoon at night all the time, which is basically our equivalent of Adult Swim. We get a lot of the same cartoons you guys got there. They'd basically license them over here and we'd get them much later than you guys would, but all the same, Bedfellows is, the episodes tend to be very short. They're usually only a couple or a few minutes long. So it's kind of like your Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Read from sheets. I am Sofa King.
Sofa King.
We taught it.
We taught it.
But even shorter, as those episodes were about 10 minutes long. There's usually not much of a plot. There's usually just some dumb, dirty joke that it involved.
It's so big!
Almost there.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh yeah, much better.
There we go. Whew. Thanks for helping me move this deceptively heavy table.
Bitch, I didn't do it for free. Now bend over.
So it's basically just their comics actually extended into flash animation, essentially. And the funny thing is, they actually would re-release these as comics with a link to the video, essentially. So they still did fit that comic format. Granted, they weren't designed for comics. It's a series of screenshots from the episode put together that isn't funny on its own, really. Just a sort of teaser for the episodes. Early on, I really liked it when the animation was actually, like, you could tell it was hand-drawn, like frame by frame, or maybe not even frame by frame, but it was 2D animation, very 2D, and it looked really nice and actually kind of professional, if a little bit silly, if a little bit Adult Swimish, you know, sort of low quality.
Guns should be controlled, because guns are out of control. See, too many people have them, but not enough people use them.
It looked better than most adult cartoons we get on TV, which tend to have very low budgets and tend to rely on dumb jokes and or clever writing, really, to carry them.
This guy might be better than me. You're right. I am better than me. Look, buddy, know when you're defeated. Accept your defecation. No thanks. I'm full, cause I eat pussies like you for breakfast. Look at you. You look so superficial. You probably judge things by their physical appearance. Oh yeah? Your mom's so shallow. She probably thinks this quip is about her.
Beyond just being ugly and atrocious to look at. Or they go for stylistic suck. Bedfellows doesn't really go for that, really. Later on, they went for 3D animation, and it's kind of funny. I guess they realized, oh wait, we should be making money by now. So I guess they started going the crowdfunding route, and then they only made a couple more episodes after that. They've kind of stopped making the series as far as I can tell, which is a shame because it's actually quite funny. It was one of the few animated series on YouTube that I still watched at this point. And this is following Ego Raptor departing from animation as well.
Hey, I'm Grump.
And I get it. Like, it's hard for animators out there. I mean, Jaden Animations makes it.
Yeah, it's rewind time. Yep.
It's hard for animators.
Now that's what this is all about.
And Bedfellows, once they started asking for money, the animation quality went down very, very sharply. For the next few episodes, they went like 3D and it looked very bad. When the characters would turn, it would like mess up the line art. Seriously, I feel like I'm looking at Lethal League right now. Or like, it was like pseudo 2D, but you could tell it was 3D turned to 2D, and it just looked really, really, really bad. They started animating in Flash, and that actually looks pretty good. There's a lot of cool things you can do with Flash. It's a very limited program, but if you know what you're doing, you can make it look nice, and they did that. I mean, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is animated in Flash, and that show looks pretty good. But then they switched to Maya after episode 30, and the Maya episodes look pretty bad in comparison. Okay, so I have the credits information here, and this, they actually have quite a hefty team working on this. See, they have Chris Patrick producing and animating and working on the story with Matthew Rice. And they have a background artist as well. And Sean Chiplock is the voice actor of both Fatigue and Sheen, which is actually quite impressive because they both have quite distinct, unique, cartoony voices that are quite different from each other. They're quite over the top. And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of have trouble doing cartoony voices. Like, that's the closest I can do. I've attempted a number of things. I've tried a bit of voice acting, but people compliment me on my regular voice and never on my attempts at other voices. I've been told Elmo is like the easiest voice to do. I can't do it. So yeah, I give major props to people who can do effective voice acting, because it seems like a lot of voice actors nowadays don't have very much range. They usually hire celebrities for, like Jack Black in Kung Fu Panda. He's just doing Jack Black voice, and yeah, all of that jazz. They also have very diverse content, I'll say. They do song parodies that are actually... They do this Lil Jon parody of Skeet 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 called Keys Keys Keys, and it's actually way better than the original song.
Oh, keys, 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 keys. Oh, keys, keys, goddamn. Oh, keys, keys, motherfucker. Oh, keys, keys, goddamn. Can't wait any longer, this is so bizarre. Gonna take drastic measures, hotwire my car. Gotta drive to work, fast as a rocket. Oh wait, here they are, they were in my pocket.
Like, I'm not a fan of Lil Jon, and I actually like their parody quite a bit. It actually doesn't sound bad at all. They even got Andrew WK for an episode somehow.
Bitchin'!
They kind of did this knockoff Rampage clone that I played on my gaming channel a little bit anyways. I didn't really like it all that much. It seems like they stopped doing animation to do this Rampage game because they stopped posting for quite some time leading up to it. I believe a full year or two, maybe. But yeah, it was overpriced. It was like $20 on Steam. They lowered the price since then, I think by like 75%. But even still, I wouldn't really recommend that game. It was all referential humor. It wasn't nearly as funny because it wasn't nearly as concise or well-paced as the animated shorts were. So that's my big gripe with those. And since then, they have made 2 Bedfellow Bits videos. They've made 2 Bedfellows Bits videos, which are kind of like, the characters are like cardboard cutouts this time around instead of 3D animation. And I guess the 3D animation was a compromise because the people behind the series became more busy with like real life stuff. So I guess they kind of lost the time to invest into the series. It didn't really take off like they might have hoped for. I mean, it is relatively popular. They've got 160,000 subs, but as far as content creators go, that's not really enough to make money off of YouTube unless you're being subsidized on some other platform. Most people use Patreon, but I wouldn't really recommend Patreon, largely due to their issues like with Sargon of Akkad saying the N-word and getting taken off of Patreon entirely from like a stream somewhere else. Basically, they can take you off of Patreon for any reason, even if it's stuff you did on some different platform entirely. So yeah, I wouldn't really trust Patreon, but yeah, here we are. I imagine not many of their videos are monetized anyways because of the adult content. Not really advertiser friendly, lots of F-bombs, lots of sexual references. But if you like sleazy comedy, this is the way to go. If there's anything I have to complain about Bedfellows, it's that there's barely any character development. One of the best episodes is probably Parents, which has some character development. It kind of goes into Sheen's backstory and kind of explains why he's a bit of an asshole.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. This is my handle.
This is the worst play ever!
You're doing it all wrong! Boo!
Why am I sitting through this? Boo! Boo!
But other than that, there's really not much at all. It's very, very surface level. There's a lot of interesting stuff that could be dove into, but it's decidedly a very simple comedy series. Also, I can't tell if Fatigue's supposed to be a dude or a chick. If anyone could let me know in the comments, or maybe try to get a hold of the creators and ask them on like social media platforms or something. That'd be actually quite helpful. Anyways, have a good new year, everybody, and subscribe to PewDiePie.